Hi everyone, Soul17 here. Let me show you this like usual. I did not own these pictures. I made the thumbnail. And yeah, like I said already, non-paid video. So, how's our Wednesday going? Figured to say that. I basically, reason why, because I tried to fall asleep and I couldn't sleep. Got hungry. Still am. So, decided to make something to eat and wait for like couple of minutes or like whatever. I decided to be like, it's 5:29. Well, not 5:29. 5. Not 5. I'm saying the 5. Immediately, my brain's saying that 3:59. It's almost 4 o'clock. Why not make something? You know, make a video. So I'm like, yeah, let me make this video. So here we go. I only thought this like for the next few parts. But what I mean by few parts, I mean like what I want to put into this what if, but I'm just gonna roll with whatever pops in my head after I got to a certain point. So, yeah. And also following canon. But anyways, here we go. So, last time, Naruto nearly dies. Shin Megami turns into Death from Darksiders 2, and basically gives Naruto the title of Horseman, the champion of death, or the Shin Megami, basically. And Naruto also found out about Sakura, who basically the parent of Sakura really is, and that, technically speaking, you know, she's been through basically some things due to her basically adopted parents. And that technically the original personality is, you know, the second personality for the fangirl Sakura. So, yeah. And Naruto basically also, you know, has to come to term with, finding out because of the Namikaze part, he doesn't understand what's the Namikaze meaning, so this is where we kind of have him find out a little bit more the Namikaze, which I thought could kind of say they were, some sort of basically like special ninjas that were wiped out during the first and second Shinobi Wars due to some facts. So yeah, but I just realized something. I just need to double check something. Not in any of my last video, just something right now. So give me a minute. Okay, it's all good. What I had to check on was all good. So yeah. So let's start. This is part 2. What if Naruto became Death? Darksiders 2 version. So yeah. So last time we left off. Wait. Yeah, no, I went through that. Yeah, I was going through all that. Yeah. Forgot for a minute. Sorry. But yeah. So, Namikaze, Naruto, you know, gonna find out more about them. Also, I mean, I did forget he did find out about his dad. I kind of went back in my memory and looked. So, yeah, he's just gonna find out more about them. And now he's gonna also find out about Sakura. And also some stuff is gonna happen with, in the beginning. So yeah, let's get this started. Now, as Naruto basically woke up from his sleep, he would yawn and such as he would hear basically a mental, basically, talk is from Dust. As Dust says, "Good morning," as Naruto's like, "Morning, Dust." Wait, Dust? So, everything wasn't a dream. As then he hears Dust silent for a few minutes and goes, "Okay, I know how stupid you are sometimes, or, most of the time, but did you actually let that mask take over your actual personality more than what you thought? Because clearly, basically, it wasn't a dream." As Naruto looks down at his right arm and sees the tattoo and just sighs and goes, "Well, excuse me if basically I thought it was a dream. Nothing like that basically actually happens in real life. Like, come on." As Dust is silent again and will say, I I guess you're right. I'm sorry. I never basically had anyone else besides my, partner's death. You know, basically as my partner as death, basically. So, as Naruto just stays quiet and just sighs out loud and thinks, yeah, I understand. So, he basically goes, wait, where are you? As basically, Dust will say, oh, I'm in the kitchen. I'm not making you anything. I'm just basically got a letter from, Shimigami, aka the previous horseman of death. Which Naruto's like, let me just do my business and I'll get out there. She said, take your time. I'm still reading. As Naruto would do his normal thing in the morning, and probably would, put on his new clothes. So yeah. As he comes out, he goes, so, what is it? Which basically, after, Naruto says that, because Dust read it all, Dust just sighs and be like, well, seems basically Kami and a few of the other gods taught to death, and including his siblings. Kami and the other gods do not think it's a bad thing to, for you to be given certain weapons that are made for, you, or armor, but they want to know if it was going to be basically made by any godly metals. Which Naruto's like, wait, so the gods actually have other materials up where they are? Which Dust just shakes basically their head no and says, no, different realms, basically. Which Naruto just blinks and then just nods. It's like the old world, but this new world, there's still more. So, newer materials and there's some godly metals out there, which Death said, or should I say Shimigami, Lord Shimigami said no. It was going to be normal basically metals from basically the ones that he has gained over the years of his journeys, his armor, which basically can be turned into by a forger of here into basically metals that would not basically be that powerful as when he had them. So in a sense, he downgrades them until you fully master basically a certain amount or basically get a full set. Which there'll be certain effects like lifesteal, heat, basically chakra surge better. I honestly don't really know. I'm just guessing here. As after Dust says that, Naruto blinks and he goes, so the gods and goddesses taught to basically Lord Shimigami, and he's basically going to give me gear still only when he's impressed. He also mentioned to them, okay, give me gear still when I impress him. And basically gonna lower it down to the point where it only works well enough with a whole entire armor set. She goes, yes, weapons included too in that armor set. And then Naruto just sighs, but like, he's gonna make this so difficult, is he? Which then, Dust then adds in after he huffs at that. Dust will just say, well, if he didn't, they were going to complain. To be fair, some of his basically, some of the armor sets that you can get are very powerful, or even mismatching them. He didn't say a full armor set of basically exactly the same type of armor, though. Which Naruto just grins. He goes, so each armor has a different... He goes, uh-huh. They forgot about that. And then he also mentioned about the weapons. Just normal weapons. That exactly the same ones he's gotten. How else are you going to basically face against supernatural creatures if basically you don't have them? Which some gods were complaining, but most of them were agreeing to that. But the Kami only made one condition. Which Naruto's like, wait, Kami? what about basically Izanagi, Amaterasu? Well, Kami basically is the main leader, and the other gods technically like Izanagi, even though basically, well, let's not get into the whole entire, question based about the gods and the history of this world. Can we not? Can we leave that for another day? Which Naruto just blinking, he goes, yeah, sorry. Kinda got curious. Which then basically Dust just huffs and just says, okay, Kami basically said, as long as basically you scrounge for your own gear as a human, and basically go through the dungeons that they will help create with basically Shimigami, well, Lord Shimigami, to basically give you a challenge, and basically if you, meet some requirements, you'll get certain gears, basically. Or basically, materials that basically humans can make. Heck, Kami will even allow basically a blacksmith to come down here and to make a shop in Konoha for you to basically get some, armor pieces made. Even basically, Death will allow for his old ones to be smelted down to a, fine, basically, metals. Which Naruto's just blinking, he's like, huh. He was trying a lot, wasn't he? Which Dust would just nod. Hold up. Okay. So, Naruto would just scratch the back of his head and like, wow, isn't that gonna be like, I don't know, some sort of, I guess, disrespectful towards him? Then Dust just starts laughing as then Dust says, sorry, it's just, he can make copies of each armor piece. It's the fact is, he's probably gonna give you the copy version of them. I mean, he doesn't really need much of the armor since he hasn't been fighting anything since he's, became a god of death. So, they're really just basically just as souvenirs. As basically Dust wave basically the, wing, as Naruto just nods slowly to that. As then Naruto just sighs and goes, well, let's get, wait, what time is it? Dust just looks at the time, he was like, oh, you're 2 hours late for the meeting. But, considering basically your sensei was 3 hours late, maybe? I forget. I gotta eat breakfast and I'm gonna be there. Wait, why did my alarm not wake me up an hour basically, beforehand? Which just says, oh, I shut it off. He just blinks and he just sighs. He's like, what am I gonna do with you? But for some reason he has a smile on his face when he says that. Which Josh just basically shrugs. If basically a crow / or raven can shrug. Yeah, crow. I had to remember for a minute. I just call it because of basically the way it looks in the game. I kind of don't, see it right. So I looked up beforehand. And I just had to remember. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. Anyways. As Naruto makes his breakfast, basically, eat an apple along the way, too. Basically, Dust is on his shoulder, as he's just mentally saying, so, what do you think? Do you think I'm going to be able to summon basically the, scythes? Whereas Crow would say, well, you're having difficult problems. You're basically still channeling chakra, but it seems like basically your energy of basically demonic and angel, which converge into your own as a Nephilim, is, not syncing up right. Because I think you're channeling chakra more. There's there's 3 different energy sources now. Well, technically only 2. As Naruto was like, huh? Oh, yes, I almost forgot. There's, something you should know about basically the Nine Tails that Lord Shimigami forgot to tell you. Since you become basically the new, death, horseman, an aspect of death, in a way, you are technically not Jinchuriki no more. Well, I mean, you still are, but the powers of the Nine Tails is, yours now. But the Nine Tails is still with you. Bound to you, even. since it's bound by this Shimigami seal. So you control you control that seal, or in this case, the Nine Tails. And since technically speaking, the Nine Tails is half power, which your father's soul, your father's soul inside the Shimigami's stomach has, well, the other half. You can technically gain that back and still have basically the full power of the Nine Tails at your hands, and, well, or should I say, at your fingertips. As Naruto is just blinking and continue walking and bites the apple again and, eating it, he says mentally, so you're telling me the Nine Tails, power, chakra even, it's mine? As basically Dust says, yep, pretty much. So you can call it basically the Nine Tails itself, since it's a basically aspect of you, we can call it technically a spirit, or, well, a familiar. I prefer to call it just a symbiote, but that doesn't suit well. Maybe a parasite? As Naruto then hears, basically the Nine Tails just says, I'm not a parasite, you basically little wing-feathered chicken. As then basically Dust hears it, and basically Naruto then hears, like, a chicken? You do not know who I am. I am Dust. I am as basically Kurama would say, I don't care. Now, stop here, basically listen to my conversation with the kid. Let me talk. As Dust just huffs and goes, fine. Talk to you whenever I don't want to, Farball. As the mental link with Dust gets disconnected. As basically Naruto's thinking basically the Nine Tails is about to, yell at basically Dust, and there's nothing. As Naruto just says in his head, mentally talking, he goes like, so, you're the Nine Tails! As he's actually sweating in the real life and actually kind of looking a little bit freaked out. As then basically Kurama says, don't freak out, kid. Everyone's going to look at you strangely. You're going to get enough glares, so don't make them basically freak out. As Naruto basically, just kind of like looking basically a little bit quick with his eyes, as some people are looking at him like strangely, as he basically realizes the Nine Tails is right, and he takes a deep breath in, then out, and sighs. Basically like, back to mental talking, he was like, so, what do you want to tell me? Where's basically, Kurama will say, look, I can't get rid of you. I can't even kill you. I have to obey you. But your technical, since I became a part of you, there's some, you could say, will of yours, aspect, whatever. Mainly, there's some part of you, a part of me. It's complicated. Don't even know how it even happened until Shimigami told me. And I hate it. So, I have my free control of my own, basically, thoughts, mind, free will and all that. But no matter what, if you give me an order or a command or just tell me not to do something, I in tune will have to listen. So that means I am unfortunately your partner. As Kurama basically grunts that out and basically sighs in annoyance. As then Naruto just basically sighs and goes like, not by will, right? He goes, no, you control me. And I'm bound to you forever, since you cannot die even as a Nephilim, who's way more powerful than me, may I add. Even my full power form. Heck, you could probably even kill Madara Uchiha. Or anyone. Actually, I think there's actually some souls basically in their Uchiha compound. Which Naruto's just blinking, he goes, yeah, well, hopefully Lord Shimigami would hear my call if I asked for him. Unknown to him, Naruto is being watched by Shimigami. Well, for this talk with Kurama. And Kami's there too. As Kami will say, so, Shimigami, will you actually give him basically that I have Kurama if he asks for it? which basically, as he puts a finger on his chin, as Shin Megami says, maybe. It depends. If he basically impresses me enough, this is one of his rewards. He has to do something really spectacular to get that. In which Cammy would nod and goes, but still, you actually would give him some of your gear of old, including weapons. While basically he's going to be going through dungeons that you will create. And, well, yes, I know, some of it will basically mostly money for him to survive. More real for him and more materials for him to create things. I want him to at least gain some basically crafting skills so he can potentially craft a weapon that will basically suit him. As I found my perfect weapon was, well, as then he summons out one of his twin sides. But now basically, but then, he makes it bigger, basically making the big giant scythe. So, yes. I want him to basically find that to make his own scythes. The ones I've given him are only for temporary. So then Cam will nod and just says, so he'll have to make his own personal scythes, huh? Yes. And what about basically his abilities? He has some of my old ones, but that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. Not in front of anyone. Because this is basically part of your domain. A bit. Which Cammy just blinks and goes, oh? I'm interested. What is it? As basically Shin Megami sighs and says, even though basically it's also part of my domain, it's mostly yours. The living, or should I say, the ones that are in your realm of heaven. Which Cammy gets a little bit serious, goes, what about it? He goes, and then basically Shin Megami says, for some of them to become his summons, like when I had my ghouls. These are basically Pacific, well, summons that basically would disappear or blow up, depending on what my abilities I wanted them to do. Or even basically summon out, or, well, had something to do with dust, helping me out from time to time in battle. Which basically Cammy would nod, and then Cammy figures out instantly, because one could basically figure out because of God process of thinking. But yeah. Well, God or goddess, depending. Or both. Yeah. Yeah, I always said I was always going to make Cammy basically be both genders, be able to switch. So yeah. So, as then basically Cammy smirks and goes like, oh? So you want basically young Naruto to, well, have said people that you are going to select to basically become his summons, as he can, well, add abilities to their, well, certain basically skill sets, or, well, what they basically are best at. Which basically he would nod. He goes, yes. Instead of basically having 3 to 4 basically ghouls, like I would, well, when I had them, he can summon out basically depending on who he finds interesting. It's like necromancy, but he cannot create an army. Max will be 7. Or 10. Depends if he gets any skill. I haven't found those in a while. It was basically those, if I remember correctly, what were they? They were artifacts that allowed me to gain more skills and increase one of mine, or unlock another one. Skill artifacts? As basically looks at Cammy confusingly a bit. Which Cammy would just chuckle and says, it hasn't been that long for you, hasn't it? Which he does nod. He goes, well, I can allow it. Which he blinks, he goes, wait, really? Which Cammy goes like, yes, of course. Which ones do you have want? Well, which one did you select, actually, and want him to have? Which basically he sighs and says, I would gladly want to give him his parents, but I do not think they are needed. Which basically that just makes Cammy a little bit shocked, but actually chuckle. He goes, you have very specific ones that you want him to get, don't you? Which he goes, yes, the ones that can actually train him too. No offense, for the multiverse that we have seen, and each different Shin Megami that I have met, They always say, basically, a Naruto always suffers. Yes, I am bringing the multiverse into this. Reasons why? Well, not to connect it, just saying, because if Dimension, their own world blew up and was recreated by the Shinto gods, basically, why not say there's like a multiverse and, kind of, say they have witnessed some worlds and such where, about Naruto's life and such. Just to make it a little bit more, mentioning it, and, saying there's, more than one out there. And also, I am thinking about kind of connecting this to one of my what ifs. Sort of. Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, I just think about it. Let me guys know, because if not, then I'll just forget about this. This whole entire thing of connecting it to basically another one of my what ifs. So yeah. But anyways, back to it. As Cammy would just nod and be like, well, alright. So, which one will it be? Which one do you want to teach him? Basically, Shinigami goes, well, first off, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Preferably the one that basically had the, sewing needle. I believe that one will be best for him. At least teach him how to be more stealth-like and, easy to handle. Which then basically kind of goes, so you're going to give him basically the sewing needle? Which he basically just laughs at that. He goes like, no. He'll probably get that from someone. As we all know, basically, what will happen in his future. After all, you basically had a plan for him, but you made it to where he can choose his path. As basically Cammy would just smirk at that and goes, yes, I know. Who else? Which, basically, he thinks about it. He will need someone. I want him to basically be trained, basically, in Kenjutsu, since the Uzumaki clan was basically best at, and that I want him basically to, be taught by the best. But I also want some of his family to be a part of it. In which, basically, that, makes him Cammy blink, as basically Cammy will see the smirk, the grin on basically Shimigami, as then Shimigami looks at, Cammy, as he then says, Mito Uzumaki sent you. As that just makes Cammy smirk. He goes, and the last one? Let him fill those spots for now. I had to think of the third one later. Which basically Cammy say, oh, Death, you are basically very, very devious, evil. Yes, you are. He goes, I try from time to time. As that just makes Cammy laugh at that, but as Shimigami's also laughing. As he just realized, ever since he became Shinigami, the Lord of Death, Shimigami, a god, or god of death, he really doesn't really laugh much, or he doesn't laugh at all in his previous life. Neither in this, and he gets these rare moments. So yeah. As we go back to Naruto. As Naruto basically gets to, the scene of, basically, the training grounds of Team 7 for their test, as Naruto just sees Sakura and Sasuke there, and he just says, yo. As basically Sasuke just, takes a quick look and then doesn't look. He just basically runs to acknowledgement. As Sakura and Ken would yell at Naruto for being late, but then she's basically reading basically a scroll on basically poisons and healing. And she goes, hi Naruto. Which basically Naruto would go over, says, hey, he would say Sakura-chan because he doesn't want, to make the illusion basically disappear. And he technically would still have some feelings for her. he does still have feelings for her, because, I mean, maybe Naruto basically different from canon, but he would, still care for Sakura in this what if. Normally, different from my normal what ifs. The type I care for her hasn't changed. Basically, that he wants romantically, and yet it's a one-sided crush. So, yeah. So there's still a whole entire thing where he's gonna try to save her every chance he gets, and, worry for her will happen. Though, don't think it'll be a ship. Like, basically, this what if is not a Naruto X Sakura one, but since this is a different one, and I kind of can, make that happen, but I don't think it would be. Well, there's a 50-50 chance it will, but not by much. I don't think. Honestly, I don't really think this Naruto could technically be with anyone, since technically he's immortal. Yeah. Leave in your comments what you think. Anyways. So, yeah. So he goes, so what you reading? She goes, just a scroll. As then she looks over at Sasuke and, basically he just nods as he will just walk over, to the training post and, start punching. As he does basically see there's like a dent in it, and he just sighs and he, starts punching, basically working on his basically control of his actual newfound strength. That was basically better. Oh, that's better basically than normal. Well, from what his normal is, because of Jinchuriki, he gets super strength. Turns out, but I may be wrong. Anyways, so. And Sakura does refrow a little bit more and gets up and walks over to Naruto. As basically Sasuke thinks, oh, here we go. As instead she leans against basically one of the wooden posts, basically. The one that's right next to the middle one that Naruto's punching. As while he's punching, he goes, so, when did you really find out about your, father? She just says, 2 weeks. Well, felt like 2 weeks. It actually was 2 days ago. Before graduation. Well, exam. Which Naruto does, make a little, nod. He goes, anything else I should know? Ones that you want to tell me. Fangirl version. She just scowls at him, and she says, hey, just because I'm still the fangirl stuff that the original calls me, I'm still Sakura. Baka. Which then he just kind of smirks. He goes, so how did you find out about the seal? She will just sigh and says, well, in the letter my father told me about who he is and what I would know of him, but he told me basically about the soul that is within me, the one that makes me me. Original me. It's still hard to come to terms with that I'm just a process of a seal that altered her personality. That I'm not really me. As she looks over at him and he just, actually couldn't help but actually chuckle at that bit. And she gets angry. She goes like, what are you laughing at? As basically Naruto looks and he basically kind of gets a little bit afraid. He goes like, I didn't mean that by, saying it's funny. I just kind of laughing because you said, you know. And then she just couldn't help but actually laugh at that. She goes, yeah, I get it now. You say that a lot of times, don't you? Which then he nods. When Sasuke saw Naruto and Sakura laughing, and then he's just thinking, what are those two talking about? Shouldn't focus on that. Should focus on what I'm gonna do to my brother. So, Kakashi's basically has been there and watching, and he says it's almost been 3 hours. I'll watch a little bit more to see what Naruto and Sakura are talking about. Or at least, if they're actually getting along, since it seems like it. So, back to Naruto and Sakura. And he goes, can you continue? As then basically he does start kicking the wooden post. She goes, alright, so after I was told about it and that my soul is the small amount of goodness he had in him, the last bit of his good side, or what we can say, the last shred of basically of honor, innocence, goodness, kindness in him, before he completely changed. He also said basically there's also a less evil and more caring personality, well, piece of his soul actually, said personality I should say, soul within Marashi Enko's curse seal. It's a seal he gave her before he turned into what he was. Since she basically was gone for the village for a certain amount of time, I think she was gone for, or she went with him. He didn't say. All he said is he gave it to her before he became truly evil. There was a chance he could have basically changed if basically something happened to him sooner, but it's due to him losing basically the Hokage position, along with basically helping out Danzo in the past, and, well, the experiments that Danzo wanted him to try to do, that he became like this. So, as a Naruto gets it, he will say. And he was, I lost track, sorry. And then basically she would just then add, he goes, so he told me to go to a person in the hospital and ask for their name, which basically I cannot tell. He just says, don't care for now, just continue. Where she nods, she goes, he was tasked to watch me, to see basically if everything's alright, and, well, let's just say when he told my father about my training and how there's lack of and more of me becoming a fangirl, my father was very, very close to destroying Konoha to get to the Haranos. As Naruto stops punching and just blinks and he goes, so the most evilest man that basically Konoha has ever had to happen, that everyone wants to kill, but was willing to basically come to Konoha and destroy it just because they made you into a fangirl. Which basically Sakura just nodded. He goes, as what basically that person said that works for my father, he said I made a disgrace of his very own daughter that he basically would kill in a matter of minutes if he knows I cannot be redeemed, and due to the seal on me, there's more to it than basically what I told the Hokage. Which Naruto all of a sudden gets serious, and basically it actually, when he basically punched the wooden post, there's actually cracks in it that Sakura hears. As then Naruto get, as I said, serious, serious basically. He goes, what do you mean? Not just basically one seal. She just sighs and just says, well, besides basically the loyalty / control seal, whatever you want to call it, I may also have basically a seal that prevents me from having my full chakra reserves. A chakra seal. It's minor though. So, yeah. And then he goes, and with basically you not training your chakra and dieting, it became worse. So my low reserves that I have is due to the fact of of all that. Since I have Uzumaki genes. Which Naruto just sighs, and then when he kicks basically that one post, it basically breaks in two, which that just shocks Sakura, and Naruto just doesn't care at the moment. He goes, so basically they set you up for failure. Why can't I say that name? The name right? Give me a minute. The word right? Give me a minute. Yeah, as I said, give me a minute. Okay, I'm having a hard to pronounce this word, but I guess because I have never said it in such a long time, I can say it in my head right. But it's fail, fail, like you failed something, and then lure. Or, well, fail, or. So I guess I'm trying to say, pronounce, like, failure. Not failure, but you know what I mean. Farlure. Alright, set you up to basically failed. Well, failure. I guess I'm pronouncing it like that, but I'm probably saying it wrong. But spelling F-A, like, well, fail, like F-A-I-L, and then U-R-E, failure. Ugh. I cannot pronounce it right for some reason. I'm tried, but yeah. So, that Sakura just shrugs and goes, well, I didn't failed, so their plan's working, getting me close to basically Sasuke Uchiha, and it seems like basically they want me to basically succeed, so well they didn't hinder my intelligence. But my natural strong body from basically, I guess, the Senjus, didn't, basically come with because I, would be not so weak. As Naruto thinks, wait, doesn't the Uzumakis have long longevity, and, basically strong bodies too? Basically, as Sakura would then say, well, technically the Uzumaki and Senjus are distant cousins, so, yeah. Then Naruto just sighs and goes, yeah, it's also found out about my father, though. Which, basically, she would nod. He goes, you don't know, well, there's not much about your father's clan. They say they're, are orphan, but I can see if my father basically knows anything since he may have done research on them. I just have to basically, summon out a snake. As Naruto, wait, you can summon snakes? She goes, only messaging ones. He said he wants to keep in contact with me. Which Naruto was signed, just, says, well, that's good. Is he planning to destroy Konoha or something? She basically would just think about it. She goes, I don't really think so. Maybe? The reason why he wants to basically try to destroy Konoha is 1, to get revenge, and 2, to get me out of here. And 3, for his, put the Sharingan, so he may basically do something to Sasuke. Sasuke. Which Naruto would nod. Hold up. Gotta sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. Anyways. So Naruto was like, oh, great. What he would do to basically the emo Teme. She just shrugs. But anyways, so, yeah. So that's about me. How you taking everything what happened to you last night? Well, I mean, the day before. Because, I mean, there was that night where which Naruto says, wow, you're being awkward about this, and he just deadpans. She goes, of course, right in front of my eyes. I actually screamed and basically caused Original basically to have a migraine. Which then basically Sakura here in her head goes, yes, and it hurt a lot. Thank you very much. She goes, sorry. I'm not used to death. She goes, neither am I, but I still kept my cool about it. But he's fine. It just makes him way more interesting. She just sighs and goes like, how do you find him interesting? I know you basically said your reasonings, but still. I mean, now he is, but I mean, the whole entire Ninetales still inside of him. She goes, OG Sakura says, King will say, she goes, yes, I know basically you find it scared since our parents told us about it. And saying he's a monster, but look at him. He became a Nephilim, which gives him superhuman strength, probably, since he basically destroyed, one imposed, and he's basically trying to take deep common breaths means he's care about you for a very long time, and you kept on rejecting him due to basically that seal, but also the way you are. But because after everything Sasuke has said to us and kept on ignoring and acting the way he has, it just makes his cool, aloof attitude, as you would say, that makes him all dreamy, which I find it irritating, annoying, and stupid. After all, he's the runt of the family. Like, legit, if you really think about it. Which, she just sighs and was like, which I did, and I get it. Just, it's gonna be hard since that's what I was made for. Which original just says silent and just says, I'm sorry I was a little bit harsh with you. She goes, no, I need it. If we're gonna work together, you have to be harsh with me because I'm basically supposed to be a fangirl for Uchiha. Which then OG says, how about we kind of switch it up then? You try and find a new session to have on. Well, for now, keep it the same until you get a good reason why to change or make a list. In which Sakura will just nod. So, as, basically she comes out of her head thinking, as Naruto just, after it calms down from his little bit of a rage, and goes, Alright. Alright, so you're fine? She goes, yep. What about you? She goes, what she just says, yeah, I'm fine. Man, though, having my chakra mixed with the beat, well, with basically the Kyuubi's chakra is a lot more problematic than I thought. Which she goes, huh? He goes, oh, I think my intelligence sort of increased due to the fact of the Kyuubi's chakra may have basically increased everything. How should I say this? Since the Shinigami seal on my stomach, as the Kyuubi said, and Dust, well, actually no, wait, Dust would say, it's basically bound or bind basically the Ninetales to me. If I died, it dies. But since now though I became an aspect of death, it's always with me, and I really can't die due to basically the healing factor I get from, well, I guess from the chakra. So in a sense, I technically became a humanoid Biju in a way, since technically there's also a part of me that's a part of the Kyuubi now. And it's sort of like a familiar. I can summon it out probably whenever I want. So, but it has its own sentience and basically feelings and all that. Which Sakura will just, well, the fangirl side of Sakura will nod and goes, so you're saying you have all the power of the Ninetales while it's still its own self? He goes, yep, pretty much. And due to that, I also think I gained its knowledge, so I basically may be slowly adapting to it now. So this knucklehead idiot that I am won't really basically be that much of an idiot for long. Which Sakura couldn't help but actually laugh at that a little. He goes, which she just can't help but actually just smile at that. Which she sees him and goes, why are you smiling? He goes, oh, sorry, it's just, I don't know. It reminds me of someone. As then he basically gets an image of a red hair, basically person, basically in his mind. As he thinks to himself, why did I have a flash of that? Like, I knew someone. No, not knew. Kyuubi knew. Yes, the Kyuubi, not Kyuubi, but Naruto will gain some flashes of memories of basically Kushina, basically his mother, because of Mito. And the Kyuubi could sometimes see from Mito's eyes. So, yeah. So anyways, Sakura just shrugged and just saying, when do you think Sensei's gonna be here, though? As before Naruto could say anything, Dust would say, ooh, here's one of the things you can do as basically death. Well, since you're a ninja, and basically you're Uzumaki's, well, a few or many of them have a sensory basically skills to basically sense chakra, but since you became death, a lot of your Uzumaki genes have unlocked. Well, technically enough of them too, I mean, but still death. Which he's like, you're just getting too excited, you're just basically basically saying stuff, are you? Which, not Shammy, but Dust would say, yes, this is very interesting. Which he just sighs. He goes, so let me guess, as I am death, the horseman of death, I can sense life. She goes, well, not she, I mean, I keep on saying that, but Dust will go, uh-huh. So, try to sense him. Which Naruto would close his eyes, and then all of a sudden, though, he can sense multiple life energies all around him. Which mentally his eyes will, well, so to speak, will widen and be shocked by this. But he can then sense chakra. And basically life energy. As we all know, basically, nature, like, basically, like, and bugs won't really have chakra, but, they have nature energy or don't have any energy at all. But, nature itself basically, gives off nature energy. That's what I think. So, basically, Naruto can sense nature energy, which is life, so everything has it, in a sense, but then he basically can sense, chakra now, too, so it's a mixture of both. So he senses a large amount of chakra, but it's being compressed down to where it's nothing, just so their presence are unnoticed. But really can't get rid of his life energy, can he? So, Naruto can sense it along with basically the chakra, no matter what. As basically Naruto opens his eyes and just says, he's here already. He's probably been here basically watching us talk. Which then Sakura's like, oh, how do you know? He goes, life and chakra sensing. One of the perks of being a Uzumaki, I guess, huh? Which then Sakura goes, I guess so. I don't really know much about if there's an Uzumaki clan, but it seems like, I guess your Crow Dust knows? Which basically, Naruto hears, I guess, but, it came out as a caw, basically, or whatever, a bird sound will make, crow sound will make, basically. As then, before Naruto can say anything, Kakashi, comes in. He goes, hello there. As Naruto basically, for some reason, gets to basically say Kakashi Sensei, but in a graspy, basically voice. I know, I did a reference without even realizing it. But I didn't say hello there, but yeah. But still, it was close enough. Still, though, it felt like something like if he added one more word, he would have actually just wanted to say that. But, and then he shrugs it off. He goes, you're late. Which Kakashi goes like, no, it's on time. Besides, I got lost on the road of life. As Naruto actually, just as a comeback, goes like, yes, the road of life has many ups and downs, twists and turns, and loop-de-loops that can basically get you lost, doesn't it? Which Kakashi is like, huh. Well, aren't you being smart for coming up with that? He goes, I'm not joking, it does. Then he thinks to himself, because I literally can sense life now. So, of course, the road of life is going to be like that. Ups and downs and loop-de-loops all over. That's going to give me a major headache. As for some reason, he can hear an ominous chuckle. As he looks around instantly, he goes like, why do I feel like I just said something that's going to bite me in the butt later? So, Kakashi asks, you alright, Naruto? He goes, yeah, I'm fine. So, can we just get this test started already? As Kakashi goes, yes, this is a survival test. You see, as it brings out 2 bells, he goes like, you're going to have to get one of these bells. And there's going to be a time limit of the exact same time in canon. Which then basically Sakura was still saying, from canon though, about the 2 bells staying out the obvious. But basically, original Sakura is thinking, 2 bells. and one of us will probably go back to the academy, he'll say. As then he says, yes, and why don't you go back to the academy? As Fangirl Sakura is all shocked, while Sasuke just is also in shock, but gets determined as Naruto just basically blinking, and he doesn't really know how to feel about it. Because, I mean, there's one thing is, he becomes a ninja of the basically Hidden Leaf Village. But then he has his basically duties as death. But then he thinks, wait, if I'm deaf, I'm gonna find way more corrupt people that I'm gonna have to, well, get rid of. And, wait, why is Kakashi's, well, soul, there's like a little black, well, little black on it. Wait, soul? Then he's just kind of squinting, then basically Dust says, oh, you can see souls. I guess, basically, Lord Shinigami is giving you, well, will basically give to you powers without you knowing. Probably gave it to you during your sleep. Souls that basically you can see now, just so you know which ones basically to get rid of that basically, well, that basically it'll be determined by you who would be sent to after you killed them. Which Naruto's like, huh? Sent? He goes, yes. To lessen his paperwork in a way, he says. Most likely, actually. So they'll be sent instantly to the gates, while the others be instantly sent to, well, the other place. Which Naruto sighs, goes, so this is how he's going to basically get rid of some of his paperwork. I'm going to take care of that, while the rest that die natural causes or unexplained deaths that I have no part of, he's going to basically do the paperwork of. Man, he's going to really basically is controlling this, huh? Which basically Dust will say, yep, now get ready. And then he goes, yes, I know. So, as basically Kakashi just seeing Naruto was spacing out, but the crow was, looking at Naruto. Basically, as Dust came back onto his shoulder. So he's thinking, why is there's a crow here? Well, or raven, whatever. Mostly, you can't say crow, though. So yeah. So he just shrugs, though. He goes like, I'll figure that out later. Because he would basically also see Naruto's not really worried, but just thinking. So he also basically now thinks, though, Naruto would actually know about the test. Which original Sakura would, well, Akane would just tell Fangirl that we need to work as a team. Try to basically, well, talk to Naruto about it if he basically would, I guess, hide, but most likely would not. Which Fangirl Sakura just sighs mentally. So, as basically says, alright, now begin. As both Sasuke and Sakura disappear, as Naruto just blinks, he goes like, oh, spaced out there. As Kakashi goes, well, that ain't good to space out during combat, well, survival. Which Naruto's like, got a lot of stuff on my mind, Sensei. Especially about this one thing I'm trying to do. Which Kakashi actually gets curious, goes, huh? What are you trying to do? He goes, oh, I'm trying to, I guess, use my chakra to make something? Which then Kakashi will just say, instantly goes like, that's beyond you, Naruto. You should basically try to do that after basically becoming Genin. When you basically get further in your training. Which that just makes basically, well, Dust actually scowl at him. He goes, you're trying to, and basically hears Dust will say mentally, goes like, you're trying to summon out your sipes. Doesn't basically make you chakra. And basically it's not beyond your understanding. How dare that basically Scarecrow say that? As basically Naruto's actually kind of, well, mentally shocked that Dust actually got mad, but companion, helper, and all of that. So, as Naruto just chuckled mentally, it was, yeah, let's see if I actually can do it. As he says to him, in his mind, only that he can hear was, don't make it chakra. Focus on the other energy. Since the Kyuubi's chakra and mine are one, I only have to focus on that feeling I got when I basically turned into well, death. My Reaper form, well, not Reaper form, but death. My horseman form. And then all of a sudden, when he closes his eyes and basically concentrate on that weird feeling, as Kakashi's just thinking, oh, what's he gonna do? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll let him do it because I mean, it's not like he's gonna be able to do anything basically particular. Still, though, I'm surprised he was able to defeat basically Mizuki. As he takes out his orange book, as Sasuke's thinking, what is the dope doing? As Sakura was actually wondering too, originals also. As all of a sudden, there's this basically green and purple and a little bit of reddish, basically energy coming off of Naruto's body. As he's basically thinking himself, focus. As basically the mark on his arm is basically, glowing. Basically a bit. As it's not seen through, basically, as basically Kashi can see, I still basically see it, and then all of a sudden, as soon as that energy gets basically bigger, and then all of a sudden he goes, now! And then he focuses all that energy into his hands. All of a sudden, basically the two sides on his, arm basically glow bright and disappear, and two sides appear in his hand. As Naruto's actually thinking, I did it! I actually did it! Basically he just smirks like Kakashi, and he thinks, and I have no idea how to use these. But Kakashi's just blinking, he goes like, huh? He's just like, looking at the marking on his arm, on his right arm, the tattoo basically goes like, you summon out weapons from your, from your basically tattoo? Hold up. Okay, so as I said, Kakashi's confused and shocked, and he was like, wait, how does Naruto know Fuin Jutsu? The Okage-sama never said anything about that. As then basically he sees Naruto rushing at him, and then he basically, just thinks to himself, okay, figure it out later, focus now, and ask Okage-sama about this later. As Naruto's just thinking now, okay, you have no style, don't know what to do, go by instinct. Yeah, seems right, alright. As I'm also doing fighting, and on the fly thinking. So, as Naruto basically, tries to hit Kakashi, and basically try to fight with the twin sides, Dust is on a tree watching as basically Dust says to, basically themselves, huh, so I was right. He had to use basically the power he got as a horseman, his other energy, basically, to, summon out basically his weapons. So that means it's also going to work with his basically, mask. It's like a Fuinjutsu seal with, ink, but, with basically a tattoo, but it only works basically with the power that he got from basically being a horseman. Lord Shimigami does work in mysterious ways, but creative. He is, though, a Sealing master, though. Yeah, Fuin master, Sealing master, whatever. So, it would make sense. He would make it where basically no one can ever take his weapons or basically master transform into a Nephilim. The Horseman of Death, basically. As Naruto is basically kicking, swinging the side, basically throwing both of them, catching them both. Heck, he actually doesn't even know how to, even change it to a big sight form, but he's making do with basically throwing one up in the air, basically, and then throwing a kunai at Kakashi. Kakashi would dodge, as he had to basically turn in the book, back into his, basically, kunai shuriken pouch. And he's thinking to himself, he has no style, and yet basically he's all improvising on this. I can tell it's all sloppy. But still, he's making up his own style. It's unpredictable. And as a Naruto would just slam both sides into the ground, and basically then all of a sudden, do multi-shadow clone jutsu, as basically the shadow clones would appear about 5 as they rush towards Akashi. As Naruto basically then runs basically into, the trees as he, put them on his side. As Naruto basically thinks to himself, okay, I had to get out of there because I wasn't winning. I'm gonna need some help. Who to ask, though? As after Kakashi got rid of all the Shadow clones, he thinks, so, he made a tactical retreat. In- Interesting and impressive. Well, I'm interested and impressed with him. What else we could do now? And, what about that one with the mask on? But, as he does basically rub his, left arm, he goes, but the Shadow clones are packing more of a punch. Did he do chakra enhancement of his basically muscles? He shouldn't know how to do that, he's thinking. As Sasuke's getting jealous of basically Naruto, so he throws the kunais and, well, that happens, like in canon. Sakura, well, would basically be then, well, almost knocked out with the genjutsu by Kakashi, but basically she'll realize it's a genjutsu, and then, see Sasuke all basically nearly killed. She kind of would still freak out and basically fake, being knocked out by fainting. As Kakashi released the jutsu, it's a sigh. I say maybe he did a little bit too much and then just, shrug it off and then leave. And that's when Naruto will appear. He goes, Sakura, basically, he would say, Sakura. As Sakura would get up and goes, is he gone? As Naruto would just nod. She just sighs and goes, look, Naruto, I think I found out basically what's the meaning of this test. As Naruto was like, huh? I thought it was a combat portion, but I figured I need some help. Even if you have to get the 2 bells. As basically she goes, so you're going to basically want to work work with me and Sasuke as a team? He just nods. He goes, yeah. I mean, he's a Jonin and we're only basically, Genin. I want to boast about my abilities, but even I can't defeat him with my new strength and speed and reflexes. I'm not used to them yet, so I have to basically see what I can physically do. But, look, I saw him at my sides. I've been trying to do that all day yesterday after the meeting. Finally I was able to do it, though. I was using chakra, though. That's why it wasn't working. Well, and I guess basically the shield that has my mask also has my scythe, so I should probably use my other energy source and put it into those 2 seals instead. Which then Sakura just blinks and just goes, so you figured that all out just by testing it out today? He just nods. He goes, and then basically Fangirl Sakura thinks, huh, I guess original me was right. He is interesting. So, he goes, so, should we go find Teme? Which he would nod. So they go look for Sasuke. They find him like it wasn't canon. And, well, you know what happened. He basically doesn't want to help, and the bell rings, and Sakura will be this time tied up. But then, I mean, even though basically Kakashi probably, would, have a Shadow clone basically watch and poofed, and basically be surprised by how Naruto and Sakura wanted to work together, but disappointed with Sasuke, but she didn't do anything. She had to be, tied up. As basically original Sakura says, we should have just tried to basically take down Kakashi, at least do something. We didn't know but then she kind of just basically says, and then she says, I would have said that if we know any ninjutsu or genjutsus, though. Stupid loyalty and basically command seals. Which basically, Fangirl Sakura is sorry. Which, she said it's no problem. We'll correct that later. So, after that, Kakashi goes, well, you failed, but Sasuke and Naruto impressed me so much, I'll give you all 3 of you another chance to get a bell. But, for those who haven't eaten, for those who basically are not tied up, he hands Naruto and basically Sasuke their meals. As Sasuke's stomach's growling, but Naruto's stomach, basically isn't. As Kakashi just blinks, he goes he's still not hungry? No, wait, he must have eaten. Huh. That's why he seemed to have more energy than the others. Which then he says, though, but let's, well, not say, but he thinks, let's see basically what he'll do. So he says, huh? Well, at least one of your stomachs is basically growling. You must have had a heavy basically dinner last night, Naruto. Which Naruto just chuckles and says, yeah, I did. He goes, alright, but don't feed Sakura. I'll be back to basically after telling the Hokage. As actually he poops. Sasuke starts eating, as Naruto opens up and basically eat a few things, as then he basically takes some chicken and rice and give it to Sakura. As she goes, wait, basically, if you give that to me, we'll fail. As then he looks at her and she basically blinks. She goes, oh, right. Yeah, thanks, Naruto. As Sasuke's like, huh? As basically Naruto basically just says no problem, as, she eats it. After she, finishes what's, in her, eating. Finish what she's eating, basically, and Kakashi will appear. I don't know why I'm having troubles. My brain's thinking basically quickly right at the moment. Oh yeah, it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning. So, anyways, as Kakashi, would say, as there's basically clouds and thunder, says, "You didn't listen to me." As basically Naruto says, "So it doesn't matter. At least my teammate was hungry and I fed her. Besides, if we don't work together, then there's basically no point in passing. So I'd rather basically just fail this test than basically, than leave a comment, behind anyways." As Kakashi is shocked, but then says, "Oh, really?" As basically says, "Does that go for both of you?" As basically Sasuke nods and basically Sakura nod too. And he goes, "Well then, you..." As then basically dramatic, basically thunder in the background and lightning. And then all of a sudden it clears up when basically Eye Smile says, "Pass." As then basically Sasuke's like, Sasuke and Sakura are like, huh? Well, Sakura's not. Well, doing that, like, how should I say? She's basically saying, huh? Basically just to go along with what they know. Basically, and pretending like she didn't. As basically, well, not basically, as then Kakashi goes, yes, you pass. Because basically, one, Naruto was willing to basically feed his teammate without, listening to my rule. And two, you all basically were willing to go against my direct orders to basically for your comrade. So you pass. As basically Sakura was like, so, what was with all about the whole deception of basically the two bells? As Sasuke's just blinking, and then basically he looks like Kakashi, which then Kakashi thinks so he didn't know. Well, of course he didn't. He wasn't willing to listen to them. As then he looks back, basically Naruto and Sakura and Sasuke. He goes, well, you see that memorial stone over there? As then he points to it, as basically Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke would nod. He goes, a friend of mine's on there. He told me something that was very important to me. Those who break the rules are trash. That is true. But those who abandon their friends, our comrades, are worse than trash. I want you to take that all into heart, for this team. Because what you've shown here today, saying you are not worse than trash. You may be trash basically in front of everyone else, but since you are not willing to abandon a comrade, you are less than trash. You are better than it. Understand that. And I want you all to take that with you. Alright? As basically all then basically nod, he goes, anyways, since basically all of you pass, we have a mission tomorrow. As basically Sasuke smirks, Sakura is basically cheering as also Naruto. He goes, now then, we'll all meet at the Hokage's place, mission hall tomorrow. Well, basically in the morning. And then we'll train in the afternoon tomorrow. As basically Sakura is saying, yay! Now then, Ken, as Naruto already cuts her out, he goes, I already thought what you were, not thought, I already knew what you were going to say, Sakura. And she goes, thanks, Naruto. She's basically looking at Sasuke and she asks him on a date. As then he says no, and walks away as she just sighs. As Kakashi's, just thinks to himself, they have a long way to go. But I think they can make it. As Naruto basically then just have basically both of the sides disappear as to basically go back into the mark on his basically left arm. Oh, not left arm, right arm. As Kakashi goes, well then, I'll see you both later. I'm gonna go tell the Hokage the good news. And so Kakashi would. Naruto and Sakura basically chat for a bit, and basically she says bye to Naruto as she goes on her way, as Naruto would go his way. He thinks to himself, hopefully I can get something interesting will happen basically in the next couple of weeks. What do you think, Dust? Dust will just say, well, I think basically we will get something. You never know. He'll just nod. And that's where we're going to leave it off, everyone, because it is almost 6 o'clock and I want to sleep. So, I hope you guys will like this What If. I'm going to be posting probably 2 videos beforehand. So, yeah. Have a nice day, night, wherever you are, and bye.